Okay, welcome to this team call for Team Something Beautiful. It is April 11th, and I just want to welcome Marlene, our brand new coach, to Team Something Beautiful. I'm so happy to have you here. It's way easier to do these calls when somebody is actually present for me to talk with. Otherwise, I could just do a video too. That's fine too. But I know that when we are working with people across North America, the time zones don't always work. So I'm just grateful if you guys even watch the recording. That's awesome. So I just want to start off with a bit of news, some of the Beachbody news, and then we will hop into I just want to share, emotionally, like, about Beachbody coaching and the emotions that I've gone through over these last 4.5 years. Because I feel like it's been, I don't want to say roller coaster. I feel like God has really helped me to just sort of detach myself a lot, because I feel like I have to detach myself. Because otherwise it would just be all consuming, and I feel like as a mother, he doesn't want our work to be all consuming. So okay, the first news that I want to share with is just about 21 Day Fix. Okay, so if any of you guys are familiar with the 21 Day Fix, that was one of the very first programs I did. I started actually with T25, and then 21 Day Fix was the second one. It's a pretty brand new program about 5 years ago. And but what they're doing now, which I think is really great, is that they're re-recording all the workouts. So originally they were just it was just like 7 workouts, and then you would just like repeat them every Monday. You do the same workout, every Tuesday you do the same workout. But now they're recording them so that they're done live. And I'm just gonna mute you guys just because I can hear some background noise. Yeah, so they're just going to be recording them live, so that there's I think there's going to be obviously 21 brand new different workouts that are going to have the same moves, but slightly different. If any of you listened to the National Wake Up Call that was a few weeks ago, Autumn Calabrese talks all about 21 Day Fix, and then they're also going to do the same thing with the 21 Day Fix Extreme, which is really cool. The only thing is, if you want to have access to those brand new workouts, you have to pay extra in order to get the early access. So I haven't done that. I haven't gotten the Ultimate Portion Fix. That's the new, revamped, with the containers and stuff like that. I haven't actually purchased that because I feel like I'm still managing with just the 2B mindset. I feel like that's kind of more my thing. Right now, it's more flexible. The containers are amazing, and I feel like I've gotten great results with them. And in some ways, I feel like I should probably go back to them, but I feel like I have a lot of people who are doing 2B mindset with me, and I just want to continue on that journey with them. So that's why I'm not really focusing a lot of time on that. But the other thing that I want everyone to know is that come May 31st, that is when all those 21 Day Fix videos will be available on Beachbody On Demand for everybody. So in the main catalog, you don't have to pay extra for them. They will be there. They'll be available. So eventually, they will come available. And I think it would be really cool to create a group, like a challenge group, to do those workouts. Be like a 21 Day Fix group, So I think maybe come May, I'm actually going to still be doing Lift 4 at that time. But eventually I will be running 21 Day Fix groups, and then eventually the 21 Day Fix Extreme will be coming out, all brand new workouts again. And I think it's really important to kind of take advantage of these new programs coming out. And because, there's like a lot of excitement and momentum around them, and, people want to hop on, stuff like that. So yeah, so anyhow, that's just one little thing. The next thing that I want to share is that this weekend is Super Weekend, which is really awesome. There are these events that are hosted all across North America. They used to be called Super Saturday, but now, because they've been hosted on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's like a Beachbody, like, let's get together, rah, 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 talk about any new kind of products, things like that. There's always a video that they share. Typically, when you attend an event, there's a live workout, there's a speaker. And it's just really great, because I remember when I first started off as a coach, going to my first Super Saturday, and it was in Regina. We drove 2.5 hours to go to this event, and it was really cool. We got to see one of the top coaches in Canada share his story, and it just really made you feel like, okay, yeah, I can totally do this. This guy is normal. He's got little kids. He's dealing with it, all kinds of, the daily stresses. I felt like, okay, it gave me the confidence in knowing that, okay, maybe I could actually do this myself too. And just meeting other coaches and just seeing their excitement was really good. And then they have different little testimonials. So if you are close to somewhere where they're hosting the event, you should really make it out. They're not long. They're usually like maybe 2 hours. I know it's hard as a mom to get out to these events, but just check on, actually I'll post it on the team page. I'm just going to make another note here. I'll post the link for the Super Weekend. so that you can find out if there's any events close to you. You know, when I first started out as a coach, I used to host them here in Saskatoon. And my very first one, I like rented out like a leisure center room, and I paid like $150 to rent this room. And it was just like, you know, it was crazy. And I think like maybe 20, not even 20 people showed up, but that's okay. Like it was just, you know, there was just so much momentum that was building at that time. And it was really awesome. It really helped me to grow in my leadership and just in my confidence, because it was scary stepping out. Like I hadn't really done public speaking in like quite a long time. And, but it was really good. So if there isn't, just know that if there is not an event in your area and you are an Emerald coach, I believe you have to be at least an Emerald coach, meaning you have to have 2 coaches beneath you. You can host your own event, and your event doesn't have to be big. Like after that event, I was like, I'm not going to do that again, because you know, like it's a lot of money to put out. I wasn't getting it back in return. So then I started hosting them at my house, and we had an unfinished basement at the time, and we would just do like the live workout in our basement. And I would have like, I'd make like Shakeology granola bars or Shakeology balls, and I would share them with everybody, and we'd watch the video, and it was just really great. It was great to meet local coaches and do a live workout together. Yeah, so just know that you can host one of those events, even in your house, in your living room if you want. You don't have to do a live workout. You can just show the video if you want. So just know that you can do that. So actually in my entire province, the whole province of Saskatchewan, which is massive, there is not one single super weekend going on. So I'm kind of kicking myself for not actually hosting one, but I know my husband is probably grateful that I'm not hosting one because he just got home and he was gone for a long time. Okay, so that's Super Weekend. I'm going to post on the team page just so that you can check the FAQs and click to see if there's one close to you. So it's this weekend. You might have it in your area either on the Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Okay, next I want to share a bit about my calendar. So if you guys are at all interested, I'm going to be hosting a 2-day sneak peek. I was supposed to do it this week, but again, life just got away on me. I'm going to do it next week. So it's just going to be about, you know, Catholic coaching actually. I like to really focus on the aspect of, you know, incorporating our faith into our groups, because I feel like for me, that's my passion. And I feel like that's just what really resonates with me. You know, other people are really focusing on like mental health or focusing on, you know, the chaos, craziness of life. And that's okay too. But I feel like for me, that's where I really thrive. So not everybody has to do that. But so next week, I'm going to be leading a 2-day sneak peek into Catholic coaching. And you're welcome to invite people into that group if you know other people who might be interested in knowing more about coaching and what it could look like for them. Especially if they're into the Catholic faith, this would be a good event for them. And then at the end of the month, I'm also going to be leading a live coaching event. So if any of you want to do that with me, you're welcome to do it. We've done these many times in the past. Typically, I do them every single month. Again, I don't know, life is crazy and I just haven't been able to do them every single month. But there's actually this girl, her name is Rosie Caston, and I've been following her on Instagram for a while. Do any of you guys know her? No? Do you know her? Do you know her personally? No? Okay. So she's a Beachbody coach and she's always like, we should team up. We should do something. And I'm just like, I don't have time to like orchestrate stuff with people. I just don't even have time to do my own stuff, you know? So, yeah, so she's really wanting to do something together. So I think at the end of the month, I'd really love to do just a live event, a live coaching, 1-hour coaching event with her, which would be really cool because I feel like our missions are very, very similar. And again, if anybody else wants to hop in and do that with us, it's kind of fun. We can do it with more than 2 people. So just know that that's available to you too. Or you can just sit back, you can invite people into the group and you can just encourage via like message or whatever. You don't actually have to be the one doing the live videos, because what we do, and Noelle, I know you've done this with me before, what we do is every 10 minutes we do another live video about a different aspect of coaching. Okay, so that's going to be at the end of the month. And then personally, so a group that I'm going to be starting with my husband on the 19th, which is Good Friday, next Friday, is the Divine Mercy Novena. So this is something that we do every single year. We encourage people to do a minimum of 20, I always used to say 25 minutes of exercise, but since doing Transform 20, I've like brought it down to 20 minutes of exercise. So yeah, I'm going to encourage everybody to do 20 minutes of exercise, be anything from like walking your dog to like going to the gym, doing at-home workouts, doesn't matter. And then we pray the Divine Mercy Tablet. So it's the novena. It's going to be 9 days long. It's a real highlight of my year. Yeah, because it really brings a lot of people who like wouldn't necessarily, maybe be connected with us, because, it's divine mercy, like that really draws, all types of people. And am I like trying to get sales out of this? No, like, honestly, like, I feel like my hope is that more people experience the mercy of God and just take care of themselves by like getting their heart rates up. And obviously not everybody's capable of doing that because they might have different medical issues or whatnot, but that's okay. So it's just, it's really good to do different groups without the expectation of ever getting anything in return, because, when it comes to the Lord, let's just be generous with our time, and we don't need to worry about what comes of that. Okay, so that's starting on the 19th. And then on April 29th, I'm going to be starting up another session of Lift 4, which is an 8-week program. I forgot that it was 8 weeks when I started like promoting it, because I thought it was only 4 weeks. I forgot. It's okay. We forget things. You guys know that. So it's going to be an 8-week program. And so if anybody wants to do Lift 4 with me, it's going to be starting on April 29th. And then the next one will be running simultaneously, but starting a little bit later, and only 3 weeks will be May 6th, and it'll be Change Anything. So that's going to be based on this book called Change Anything by Joseph Grenny and a whole group of other people. It's an excellent book. I've been leading this group. I think this will be my 3rd year doing it. And it's just got so many great skills, strategies in order to change and break different things, not necessarily, maybe eating, or it can be anything. It could be like spending too much money, or just negative thought patterns, or, just whatever, like whatever bad habits typically is what they're talking about, how to break those and to change anything. And he's actually a Christian. And I know a lot of like people who are involved in different Catholic ministries who've read this book for different reasons. So it's a good book. There's nothing like controversial in it. Okay, so that's going to be starting May 6th. Okay, so enough about that. I want to get into, if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate. You can like put your hand up. Even like you guys can probably unmute yourself. If you do have a question, just unmute yourself. And yeah. Okay, so if you have questions about my personal coaching, I want you guys to feel free. Just know that you can ask me anything. Like I don't want to like you guys to think that I'm hiding things from you. I want you to know that like I'm here to answer your questions. Okay. So, I started coaching back in 2014. Yes, 2014. I can't believe that. That's going to be 5 years this August already. And to say that it's been like smooth sailing the whole time would be a lie. I mean, it's been joyful for me. I feel like it's really provided me with a sense of I can still contribute. And I need to remember that like, regardless to what I do with my life, like if I'm following the Lord's will, that is what is utmost important. Whether I'm a successful Beachbody coach or not, it doesn't matter. And I feel like I always have to have the prayer that, Lord, if you want to take this business and you want to close it down, then I have to be okay with that. If he's calling me elsewhere, if he's calling me to step back, I need to be okay with that and to abandon everything. And like I'm actually currently reading this book, whoops, right here, Searching for and Maintaining Peace by Father Jacques Philippe. And it talks about that, like how we need to have complete and utter surrender, and how the Lord will not work in our life if we are not giving him everything. I mean, obviously God works, even if people just open their hearts just a little crack, but like he wants full surrender. And it's kind of like the whole idea of like, if somebody jumps out of an airplane, they won't feel the straps of the parachute unless they actually jump out. And it's like sometimes there's a risk in jumping out, and it's only once we jump out that we really feel the Lord carrying us, So I feel like in a lot of ways this business has called me to step out. And even tonight, like I get nervous before these calls, and I just get anxious, and I'm like, why do I get this way? Like just but we all have our little struggles, we all have our insecurities. So just know that like I am just like you. I wake up in the morning and I feel like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to get up out of bed. I don't want to do this. But you know what? over time, I've just, you develop little habits. And even if you just change one little thing every single day, it really, really, over the long haul, makes a huge difference. And I don't want to forget this point. I'm just going to write it down right now so that I don't forget. It would be a great time to talk about it, but I'm not going to, because I want to keep going on. So 5 years ago, I started Beachbody coaching because my sister was a Beachbody coach. Right now, she is currently inactive. She was like really doing super awesome, but then she just stopped for about the last year and a half. Her husband opened a Mr. Rooter franchise, and they've been super busy with that. I just saw her today. She still loves the workout. She's loves Shakeology. She's going to be on Shakeology for life. But she just doesn't feel like she's called to lead groups. And so she's still a coach. She's still my upline sponsor, but she's not active. So she's not providing any support in terms of coaching. So now, instead of looking to my sister Lisa for, to connect me with different things, now I look more to Brittany. Brittany is her coach, Brittany Wright. And she's doing really, really well in her business. She has 4 little kids. She has a set of twins. Her oldest, I think, I don't know, how old are they? Like, they must be 8 now. But yeah, she's pretty busy, and they live in Michigan. So anyhow, just know that you can always connect with Brittany too if you feel like you have questions that I don't know the answer to. The questions are always available to you. So anyhow, I signed up as a coach because, when I first started doing these workouts, it was about 6 months before starting as a coach. I was doing the T25 program. Ken and I were doing it together. And we both lost like almost 30 pounds. And people were just like noticing the changes, and they wanted to do the same thing. So basically, I kept on referring all these people to Lisa and my sister Lisa. And Lisa was like, Janelle, why don't you do this yourself? And honestly, I had tons of hangups about multi-level marketing companies. I didn't want to be involved in any of that. I was a teacher. I was on a leave of absence. The benefits of teaching here in Canada were really, really good. You get top up when you go on mat leave. It was like very, very, there's huge incentive to go back to work, so that you can get that mat leave, because you get paid like 85 or 95% of your wage for the first 18 weeks of your maternity leave. So it's like you're getting paid almost full time, and you're on maternity leave with a baby for the first 18 weeks. But anyhow, as time went on, I just knew that I had to be home with these kids. And so I was like, I got to do something. And so I started just inviting people. So I signed up as a coach. And prior to this, I was not a believer in Shakeology. I thought it was a huge waste of money. My husband was like, that is like too expensive, silly. Whoever buys this stuff is crazy. And so that was kind of our mindset around Shakeology. And even though my sister Lisa was drinking it faithfully, her husband was, I had another brother and sister-in-law who were drinking it. So I kept seeing it, and I kept seeing it in the videos because they were always promoting it. And so I was like, well, I'll buy a challenge pack again. But I felt like the only way that I could justify using Shakeology was if I was earning enough income to cover it. And so, and it was at that time in August when I signed up as a coach that I started actually drinking Shakeology like 1 a day. Because prior to that, when I first had it the very first time, like 6 months prior to that, I only had got it 2 times. I was maybe drinking like half of a pack or half of a scoop because I wanted to make it last. And, but the thing is, you really only kind of experience the full benefits when you use the full amount. But again, I always recommend people, like, especially if they're new to Shakeology, sometimes it's good to just start off with half, because it can be so nutrient dense that sometimes our bellies get kind of, they don't really like all that nutrition right off the bat. But anyhow, so it was really exciting in the beginning. I felt like I was getting a lot of positive, response and stuff like that. But I have to tell you, like, there was a change in my business when finally my warm market was really drying up. And there was a few little challenging moments because my sister was a coach, right? So then all my relatives were going to her, which is great. I felt like I had a different type of network because of our ministry work. So that was okay. But, of course, there's always, like, emotionally, you have to detach yourself. And that was another thing that I learned from this book that I'm going to talk about, called The Compound Effect. So when I first started as a coach, it's really, really, really important that you always start doing personal development, whether that's listening to podcasts, listening to the National Wake Up Call, reading books. And one of the very first books that I read was called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's not a big book, so I'd highly recommend that you read it if you haven't had a chance. You can get it from your library. You can even listen to an audio version of it, but it's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And 2 takeaways from that. Number 1, how do you get momentum started? Momentum starts just like, and I shared this in my challenge group like yesterday, I think, just like a little merry-go-round where you push it. It's hard to get it started, but once you get that merry-go-round going, it can go really fast and it's easy and it just keeps going, right? And momentum just picks up and shows up and your business keeps rolling. But as soon as you stop, you got to push it again. And it's a challenge, right? So that's one takeaway that I took away early on in this business, was never to stop. Always keep my foot on the gas pedal, no matter how slow I was going. Because I had to show up, even if it was just making one post or connecting with one person, or, showing up in my challenge groups, doing a live video, doing something, to put myself out there every single day, doing my workout, even if it was just doing my workout on a holiday or something like that. Like, I had to do something to keep the momentum going. The second thing that I learned from that book that was really important was to always detach myself from the outcome. We have no control over how other people respond. All we can do is invite. And whether they say yes or whether they say no, it really shouldn't emotionally affect us. And I remember in the beginning, if somebody returned something or if somebody said no to me, it would really discourage me. And I would feel like, oh, they don't like me. Like, it was a reflection of me. And often you'll hear coaches say all the time, they say, if they say no, it just means no, not yet. And I have to say, a lot of the time that is true. A lot of people, eventually you just keep being that product of the product. They'll see you in their news feeds. They'll see you in your stories, or you keep inviting them even into your free groups. Like, I always tell people, you know what? I love it when you show up in my free group. Even if you want to be in my free group for the rest of your life, that is okay with me. Like, I never want anybody to feel the pressure to be in my groups, in my paid groups. But ultimately, if they say yes or if they say no, I want to have the same response. Just to be like, yes, whatever you decide is awesome. And I kind of feel the same way, like, we have no control over, like, even when it comes to inviting people into the faith or asking them, hey, have you gone to confession lately? Whether they say yes or no, or, encouraging them to, come back to the church. Why would we just assume no for somebody? We can't assume no. You always just have to invite. That's all, right? And it like makes me think of that quote by Mother Teresa. She's not called, or he has not called us to be successful. He's called us to be faithful. So all we have to do is show up. That's all, and then let God do the rest. So back again to the compound effect with Darren Hardy. Those are the 2 things that really, really stood out to me. And I feel like they are huge lessons that have carried me through these last 5 years. Okay, so yes, so one big change was when my warm market was really drying up. So that means all of my friends, all my family, I had reached out to pretty well everybody, and and people just weren't really like naturally hopping on board with me. And I know a lot of the times, like, we have to invite and we have to keep inviting, but you don't want to annoy people. So you got to start finding you have to bring in new people all the time. And that's why it's really crucial that we keep building our contact list, inviting, friend requesting new people, making new friends in different groups on Instagram, following new people, following like-minded people. And one really important thing is figuring out who is that person that you really want to be working with. And typically it's somebody just like yourself. So yes. Okay. So that was a huge changing point. Cause I remember I went from working with people that I knew to then now working with people that I didn't know. And that was kind of scary for me. I'm like, okay, like, I'm working with people from like all these states that I like don't even know where they are on a map. But you know what? It was really cool because what the common factor that we had was Catholicism and our love for the faith. And that I felt like, when you have faith as a common denominator, I feel like everything else just sort of falls into place. So, so as scary as it was, because change is always scary, a lot of us like to resist change. It was actually really beautiful. And I'm so grateful that had to happen. So that was when I started using a lot of Facebook ads and promoting my page, getting new people, connecting with them just through Messenger. And at this point, for the first 3.5 years of my business, I was purely on Facebook. I've only been on Instagram for 1 year. And I really didn't want to go onto Instagram. Like I said, I don't like change. And so I just felt like I didn't have time for that. Learning something new is I always have negative thoughts like, oh, this is going to be so much work, but I have to remind myself, stop, Janelle, everything's hard before it gets easy. Everything is hard before it gets easy. Doing a workout, those first workouts, it's always hard before it gets easy. And I have to remind myself that, even in the business. Starting, Instagram stories, that's hard before it gets easy. I was like, who's got time for this? Who's got time to be posting out throughout their day? But it's gotten way easier now. Or who's got time to learn about Instagram, what is it, TV or something? See, I still don't know everything, and I'll never know everything. Things are always changing. But see, this is the beautiful thing, is that I feel like this book has taught me so much, is that I don't need to have everything in control. I just need to surrender, trust God that He will make it happen. And if He doesn't want to make it happen, so be it. Praise God, regardless. And that's okay too. So I really feel like it's super crucial that we are always keeping our eyes fixed on God and saying, Lord, is this the direction that you want me to go in? If it is, you're going to make it work. And if not, that's okay too. But ultimately, we need to still be doing those things that are crucial, or, the vital behaviors, which if you're not sure what the vital behaviors are, that would be like in a new coach training. You can even look in your coach online office, and it's all in there. Okay, and if you need to know, just send me a message and I'll get you those details. Okay, so that was the big crucial time for me, was when I had to start going into a cold market and using Facebook ads to encourage people. Because I remember for the longest time, I never had to invest money in advertising. It was just all warm market. And then I had to start, putting in a little bit of income to just generate more traction. But now it's interesting, because that was all on Facebook. Now you would hear people say, like, don't put your money there. Don't. Like, go on Instagram and really get to know Instagram. So if you're a brand new coach, I would say really try to focus on Instagram. I can't believe I'm saying that. Because, like I told you, like, Instagram is very new to me too. And I feel like I'm still learning a lot about it. But that seems to be where people are saying you need to go, is Instagram. So basically from there, there was a couple times in my business where I felt like I was being run so thin. Like, I wake up at 5 a.m, and then I've got all these little kids. We had another baby a couple years into my business, and that was a new curveball. And the interesting thing is, we had this baby in August, and then we started homeschooling in September. So being brand new homeschoolers and having a new baby and running a business, it was a lot. And I've heard other people say, like, don't ever start homeschooling if you have a brand new baby. But you know what? We did, and it was fine. And, it wasn't perfect. And sure, like, I know Ken always says I'm too hard on myself when it comes to my teaching, or when it comes to homeschooling, but it's been beautiful. And again, it's another opportunity for us to just, like, surrender and be like, Lord, if this is the direction you want us to go, you're going to make it work. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It will be fine. So that was the next kind of big change. And there was a time in my life where Ken would really question me and be like, hey, do you feel like this is the direction that you're still called to be? And I really had to take a step back and just be like, because, like, I hadn't been seeing huge, what's the word? Income increase. I wasn't seeing huge, coaches joining me. Like, a lot of people see huge success right away in Beachbody. And that's awesome. But, like, for me, like, I wasn't a huge recruiter. Like, when it comes to business, you're supposed to be recruiting new coaches. You're supposed to be onboarding people. Well, but, like, that just wasn't where my heart was. And it was interesting, because every time, like, I would get off of a call with, like, a coach or something like that, I would always just be so happy, and can be like, did you just finish a call with someone? I'm like, yes. Like, and it would just fill my cup, like, even, like, I know after this call, like, I'm just going to be like, oh, it's so nice to see these beautiful ladies who have a common mission and, want to join me in this purpose of like, helping people to grow in holiness while growing in strength and in health. So thank you for showing up tonight. So I just felt like it brought me a deep joy in the midst of the chaos that was around me in my home through homeschooling and being a mother. And the other thing was that at that time, my husband stepped away from a ministry. He founded a ministry called Face to Face Ministries back in 1999. And he was a part of this ministry for 15 years and he stepped away from it. And that was a huge change because it was kind of like, and he kind of became independent. So then there was like a new, I don't want to say, I never felt, I always feel like Ken is the, he's in charge of, providing for the family, and I can do my part a little bit here and there. But I felt like, if I can do this and it still, brings joy, doesn't take from my family, then I will continue. And that's the other thing that I've always had to remind myself, because as soon as it brings a lot of stress into my life, then I need to step back, because I need to be mommy first, or like wife, mommy, and then Beachbody coach, right? And having those priorities in order, because as soon as I'm on my phone all day trying to do business while I'm trying to deal with my kids, that just doesn't work. It doesn't make for a happy home. And so I have to try and there's obviously going to be some overlap. Like I'm taking a picture of my food at supper time, or my kids are I started my workout late and my kids are, doing the workout with me or in the background, or, they see me do little things, but I don't want to be like responding to messages all throughout my day. I need to do that when it's uninterrupted. And that's the other thing, is like when you are uninterrupted, you are more effective with your time. So, so I feel like there's been ups and downs, even in this last bit, like having baby number 5, I feel like has been the biggest change and challenge in my motherhood, just because I feel like, wow, 5, like I just don't even know like how to manage all of this. And I feel like the big takeaway for the last couple of years has been like, you need to be okay with asking for help. And that's been something that I've never been okay with, because I feel like I've always wanted to be able to do everything myself. I can manage, I'll be fine. Don't worry about me, I can do it. But there I am in the bathroom crying because I feel like my world is caving in, right? And so I feel like the last couple of years has been about asking for help and being okay with that. And it's still hard for me. Still really hard for me. So, but yeah, that's made a big difference in my coaching, and I feel like it has changed a lot too. Just even this morning I was telling Ken, like I love to wake up. I know this sounds funny, but I actually love to wake up at 5 in the morning because I feel like it's quiet. Because my sister-in-laws will be like, why do you wake up so early? Don't you just sleep in? And I'm like, no, that is like my favorite time of the day. It's quiet. My kids are sleeping. I get to actually pray, drink coffee, and like I'm not going to give that up. And then the thing is, it's like there I am. It's 5:30 in the morning, doing my prayer time. I get distracted by something on someone's Instagram stories, scrolling through their Instagram stories, and I'm like, I don't wake up at 5 in the morning to be watching somebody else's Instagram stories. So it's a really crucial to put on those blinders, be focused. So if I can leave you with one tip, because this call is going to wrap up, and I'm so sorry. There's 7 minutes left, so I'm going to wrap up really quickly, and if you have questions, I want you to ask them. Is if I can give you one tip, when you sit down to do your work, if you have uninterrupted time and you sit down to do your work, the first thing you do is you make a list. Make a list of what you want to get done and prioritize it, because you don't want to spend all this time making a beautiful image when you really should be messaging with people and connecting with new people, because that's going to be a more effective use of your time than making a beautiful image for a post, So you have to really kind of weigh your list and figure out what is the most important, what's going to be the most effective, and then do that first. And often, sometimes doing the harder ones first. I got to get better at that too. So anyhow, okay. So yes, so I feel like there's been ups and downs, but I have to say that there has always been joy. Okay, questions. Hi, Noelle. Nice to see you. Noelle, this is Marlene. She's a new coach. Yes.
Hi, Marlene. How are you?
So, okay, do you guys have some questions, or do you have anything that you want to share?
I guess one of my questions is relating just sort of to what you do when you're not doing a workout program, like in between workout programs.
Yeah, that's really
So,
good. I like that because I've really struggled with that too. But you know what? In those times, that's usually when I do like whatever. Sometimes, especially when I'm pregnant, I do this a lot where I like bounce around doing whatever, whatever I feel like that day. But you could do something short, like if you wanted to do like clean week workouts, or you could do, there's one called Sean Week. There's like just week long ones. If you want, you could do that. You could even like lead people through that. You could do a short free group being like, hey, who wants to do Sean Week with me? And then they can get the free 2-week membership of Beachbody On Demand, do the Sean Week with you if you wanted. And it gives you a good opportunity to maybe try new trainers, or, the sample workouts of different
well, I sort of meant like right now I'm doing Insanity, and I'm realizing that I'm probably
the craziest workout ever made by Beachbody.
yeah, I'm sort of about like, well, that's what got me into Beachbody, is I fell in love with that program.
Yeah.
But I've never done like the entire 60 days. I've always done like part, and then it's like life got crazy. So I'm really trying to get through it. So I'm in week 5, but I'm sort of realizing that it is sort of crazy. And I'm thinking I need to take like a definite like physical break,
Okay.
because I'm going after like 8 weeks of like exercising every day with 22-minute hardcore, to then like a week in between and jumping into Insanity. And it's like, I think my body will need a break, but I'm sort of like, such where, yeah, I could do like maybe a super simple one, but I'm thinking I almost just need a
Like a
complete
full
break.
break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
I've
and
never
so,
actually done that myself. I've never taken a full break, except for when I'm like postpartum right after having a baby. But Noelle, you're like, that's a really intense program. Um, and you're still nursing, right? Too?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like you've got lots of demands on your body too, right? So you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a little bit of like a break for your body. That would probably be really healthy, especially if you're noticing that you just need a break. The only thing that this is me, like what my struggle would be like, I'm always worried as soon as I start taking a break, what if I don't ever jump back on? You know? But
Yeah.
you're somebody who's always come back to the fitness, right?
Yeah. So it's sort of, well, I find like when you're sharing your story too, it's interesting because it's like part of me is like, one of my struggles I feel like as a coach is I'm not very relatable,
Mm.
because, um, I was always trying to get back into fitness, you know? So when I was like, so I don't have some like amazing story of like how it, you know,
How it clicked and how you just stuck with it. Is that what you mean?
yeah, because it's like, yeah, I fell in love with the programs, but I fell in love with Insanity to start with.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
most people are like, that's sort of, not, I haven't met many people who that's their thing.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I'd be intimidated by that program. One, because of its length, and also because of its intensity. But you know what? There are moms who love that crazy stuff. Like, actually, Insanity is the program that got my sister Lisa into it. She
Yeah.
had 2 little babies, and she did Insanity, and yeah, and she did the full program. And they're like, aren't they like hour-long workouts?
The last 4 weeks will be hour long. I haven't reached
Yeah.
that yet. I'm at the 40-minute ones, which are the running's the easy part.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's what got her into Beachbody too. So there are moms who love that, and you know what? I think actually probably more people relate to the fact that, like, not always being into fitness, or always coming back to fitness, or more than somebody who's like super consistent. I realize that that people struggle with consistency, too. So yeah, but it's up to you what you want to do. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I just thought I'd ask for some tips of like, if I am taking a bit of a break, what like posting should be like, or
Yeah,
like,
no, you could even talk about like nutrition. Focus more on your nutrition for sure. And things like about sleep, and how, even talk about like muscle recovery, or about, what you can do with your time just to replenish that need for a break. I know I'm actually thinking about that too, because we're planning on going to Vancouver Island for like almost a month in June. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this going to work? But whatever, you just share. You just share what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Okay, no thanks.
yeah. Any other questions, Marlene? Anything? No? Okay, it's getting way too late. You need to go to bed now. And I have less than a minute. They're going to cut me off. So, and it's really late for you too, Noelle.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's 11.
you girls, get to bed. It's only 9:15 for me. Okay, good night and God bless you. And thank you so much for showing up. I totally appreciate seeing you here. Okay, good night.
Right.